Welcome back to Yehoshua's Daf Yomi Shiur, where the Daf continues until the clear and complete revelation of Mashiach ben David. And we're holding on Daf Beis of 54 Chullin 54b, and we're at the words Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Amar. That's what we're holding. Okay? Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Amar, Einu ksheris davka tzotchefoi susno ze klal, chazir de lamasten de lo asya beze klal. My time lavenu kuve damya, lo libsuke damya, v'lenetule nami lo damya. Tna ksherois, ani hu niksherois, ho de lamasten trefo. And according to Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, who says that the phrase "these are kosher" is meant specifically, the Tana taught the list of treifot and taught afterwards that this is the principle. And the Tana then saw that the case of Rav Masna ostensibly does not come under the heading of this is the principle, and one might assume that it does not render the animal a treifa. What is the reason for this? It is because a dislocated thigh is not similar to cases of perforated organs, and it is not similar to cases of cut organs, such as the windpipe. And it is not similar to cases of removed organs. Therefore, he taught the phrase, "these are kosher," to emphasize that it is only these that are kosher, but in the case of Rav Masna, the animal is a treifa. Gufa Amar Rav Masna, Hai Buged de Atma de Shaf, Miduchte treifa v'Rav Amar Keshera, V'Ipsik Nive treifa v'Hilchasa, Ipsik Nami Keshero, Ad Demis Achlo Is Achole. The Gemara addresses the matter itself. Rav Masna says this head of the femur that was completely dislocated renders the animal a treifa. And Rav said the animal is kosher. But if its sinew holding the bone in place is cut, it is a treifa. The Gemara concludes, and the halacha is, even if the sinew is cut, the animal is still kosher unless the sinew decomposed, in which case the animal is a treifa. Ad kama techsar amar ziri atun dila mischame nechon shiura bedinara kurdinao v'havei kipshita zutarti umishtakecha beini peshite de pumpedita. The Mishnah states, how much can the windpipe be missing and still be kosher? Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says, until the perforation is the same size as an Italian Isser. Ziri, who came from Eretz Yisrael, said with regard to this, you, who are not familiar with the measure of an Italian Isser, because it is not used in Babylonia, should estimate its measure as a Kurdish dinar, and it is like a small pruta coin, and can be found among the prutot of Pumbedita. Amar Rabbi Chana Peturao Ida Menai Hava Kai Bardavka Uba Mine Danara Kur Dina Alishaura Be Trefata Trefta Uba Ila Mekha Mekhame Velo Shavkani. Amar Li Shev Beni Shev Ein Bale Nios Rasha'in La'amod Mipnei Talmidei Chachamim Bisha'a She'asukin B'melachtam. Rabbi Chana, the money changer, said, Bar Nafcha, meaning Rabbi Yochanan, was standing over me, and he requested of me a Kurdish dinar with which to measure treifot. in accordance with the statement of Zeiri, and I wanted to rise before him out of respect, but he did not let me. Rabbi Yochanan said to me, "Sit, my son, sit." Tradesmen are not permitted to stand before Torah scholars when they are engaged in their work. V'lo, Yetzanan, Kol Bal Umnios Omedim B'neihem, V'sholim V'shloman, V'omedim Lahen, Achenu, Anshe Makom Ploini, B'echem V'shalom. The Gemara asks, and are tradesmen not permitted to stand before Torah scholars? But didn't we learn in the Mishnah in Bikurim 3:3, when the pilgrims bring their first fruits to Jerusalem, all the tradesmen stand before them and greet them and say to them, "Our brothers from such and such a place, welcome." Amar Rabbi Yochanan mipneihem amdin, mipnei Talmid Chachamim ein amdin. Amar Rabbi Yossi v'Ravin ba'u re'ei kama chaviv mitzvah b'sha'asa. Shari mipneihem amdin, mipnei Talmid Chachamim ein amdin. Rabbi Yochanan said, yes, they stand before those bringing the fruits, but they do not stand before Torah scholars. Rabbi Yossi v'Ravin says, come and see how beloved is a mitzvah performed in its proper time, as the tradesmen stand before those who brought first fruits, while they do not stand before Torah scholars. The Gemara rejects the statement of Rabbi Yossi Ravin. From where does one know that they rise out of respect? Perhaps the tradesmen stand only in order not to cause those bringing first fruits to fail and sin in the future. That is, if the tradesmen do not treat those bringing the first fruits with great respect, they may not make the effort to travel to Jerusalem in a subsequent year. Amar Nachman kasela kiyaser mikasela keisar kiyaser mikasar. The Mishnah states, I guess it didn't answer the question, it just went on to the next thing. Okay, the Mishnah says, how much can the windpipe be missing and still be kosher? The Rav Shimon Gamliel says until the perforation is the same size of an Italian Isar. With regard to this, Rav Nachman says whenever the sages specify the measure as that of a sellout, with regard, for example, with regard to a damaged skull for the purposes of treifot, they mean that even an area exactly the size of a sellout is treated as more than a sellout. Likewise, when they specify the measure as that of an Isar, they mean that an area exactly the size of an Isar is treated as though it were more than an Isar. Alma kasav Rav Nachman ad velo ad bichlal. Since Rav Nachman holds that perforation exactly the size of an Isar is treated as though it were larger than an Isar, he must hold that such a perforation in the windpipe renders the animal a treifa. The Gemara therefore infers, apparently Rav Nachman holds that whenever the sages use the word until, it means until, not including the measure. As the Mishnah states, that an animal with a perforated windpipe is kosher until the perforation reaches the size of an Isar. Eisivei Rabba Rav Nachman Chevel yotze min amito ad 5 טפחים toir Ma'ila 5 kilomato lo 5 kilomato. Rava raised objection to the opinion of Rav Nachman from Mishnah, Caleb 19 verse 2. The end of a rope that extends from a rope bed is not susceptible to ritual impurity until it is 5 handbreadths long. If the bed becomes impure, the rope remains pure, because it has no use, and it is therefore not considered part of the bed. What, is it not reaching that a rope exactly 5 handbreadths long is treated as though its length were below that amount? If so, the word until means until, and including the same measure, exact measure. The Gemara responds, no, a rope exactly 5 handbreadths long is like a rope whose length is above that amount. Tashima mechamisha abed asara tame, mai lav asara kilamata lo asara kilimala. The Gemara suggests coming here a proof from the continuation of the Mishnah. If the end of the rope was of any length from 5 handbreadths until 10, it is susceptible to impurity. What, is it not teaching that a rope exactly 10 handbreadths long is treated as though its length were below that? The Gemara responds, no, a rope exactly 10 handbreadths long is treated like a rope whose length is above that, and it is not susceptible to impurity. Tashema hadakin shibichli cheres hein v'karkarosehen v'dovnosehem yoishvin shelo misumachin. The Gemara suggests coming here a proof from another Mishnah, Kalim 2:2, with regard to the smallest of earthenware vessels, if they or their broken off bases or sides can sit, meaning remain upright, without being supported. Okay, we'll stop there.